chain wallet? Why not? Spike jacket? Sure. Brass knuckles? Whatever.
What's going on, metalheads? Thank you all for tuning in to this week's episode of the Metal Forge. My name is Mark Jackson, and I am your host. This week, I'm already, gonna butcher names, and I hate doing that because it's just, it's so easy for me to do because I am a hick from small town United States of America where we all have accents and draws and things like that. But I believe it's Erdve.
Erdve, yes.
Erdve is the band, a sludge metal core kind of band is what Seasons of Mist is referring to. Shout outs to Will for sending you over and getting you on my radar. Completely rad stuff. New album just came out on the 29th of May. Who do we have today?
This is Vaidotas from Erdve. I'm like the representative for the band.
Hell yeah. Guitar and vocals, correct?
Yeah, basically, yes. Also doing most of the music and, just trying to, to be a leader in this space, Yeah, but we're of course a collaborative effort, but I'm I've thought of the band on its inception,
Sure. So tell everybody out in Metal Forge land. So you are from Lithuania.
Yeah.
So you are you're my first Lithuanian guest on the Metal Forge. Thank you very much for allowing me to put another pin in the map. Maybe one day, maybe one day I'll have $1 trillion and I will be able to go anywhere I want as well. But I don't look for that to happen. But hopefully one day I'll get to visit. So tell everybody in Metal Forge land about Erdve.
Yeah, well, what would you like to know? I don't know where to start.
You said you were there since the inception of the band, so tell everybody about what was the inception of the band? What made you want to get into doing what you're doing now?
Well, now that I think about it, we've been a band for almost 10 years now. So it's kind of been quite a ride already. It's our third album just came out, but we've been quite active throughout these years. And so the beginning was I had several bands before. I've thought of Erdve and just it wasn't supposed to be a band at first. It was supposed to be like this, I don't know, project that I had in mind for a while about the specific sound I wanted to make. So it really came from the initial idea was very experimental. I wanted to do something in terms of making as raw as possible kind of music and very emotional and atmospheric. I come from this sort of also experimenting with black and death metal before that. So this was inspired by a few different things, I guess. I had my musical taste expanded by a lot by just basically opening myself to all sorts of music, and that's what I came up with. And the first tunes for Erdve that I wrote they were this kind of like a collection of everything that I like in heavy music. So, for example, I've always had a problem of creating boundaries for myself creatively in terms of what the genre standards dictate, For example, for me, I really loved black metal, but for me, it was always lacking this punishing, aggressive low end kind of thing, and that sludge metal has. And for example, also all kinds of things that you find in different post metal things and maybe more experimental type of metal music, maybe some of progressive metal, maybe some of the doom metal was also like a big part of it, and I just basically figure out that I just want to take all the things that I like and all those genres and just put something together that was somewhat coherent in that sense, and just make it as heavy emotionally and sonic wise at the same time. Something that comes from the heart.
For sure.
Also, what I'm trying to say, I was just trying to make my own thing. Just
Yeah,
make
yeah,
make something
absolutely.
like that.
And
Yeah,
I think when anybody gets something off the ground, it is always, we all take the inspirations from something. It's like, that band is really so good. What makes them so good? I can play as good as them. What's the difference? And then you start doing it, and then you start proving it. It's like, okay, well, here it is. And one of the things that you had mentioned about pulling from the essence of so many different heavy genre, and especially on the newest album, I can definitely hear some of the hardcore
yeah,
essence in a lot of it. The especially, like, you get like the DC style hardcore. I can hear that in it, which is totally rad to think that, how so many different bands from everywhere influence all of us. It doesn't matter if you're in Lithuania, Louisiana, or Lebanon. Everybody has an influence from somewhere that is going to be that somebody hasn't heard of, and it's going to blow
yeah.
your mind.
Yes, when you have an emotional connection with something, it actually doesn't really matter what the upbringing is. So even hardcore, yeah, I could have mentioned hardcore. Grindcore was a really, really big influence on me. Like for many years, it was at at some point of time, I was just from when I'm speaking about heavy music, I was only listening to grindcore and something related more to jazz rather than anything else. So this kind of everything really heavy and really everything that affects me emotionally had a part in the emergence of the band that we have now. So everything is equally important. I could list like hundreds of different influences that I had throughout the
Sure.
years. And I'm not talking about like cinema and other side. I'm just talking about music for now. But the things that influence are not just like what makes a genre sound like it does. I'm just taking those elements that affect me emotionally.
Sure.
Just ways of playing, ways of making low-end music, ways of making atmosphere, ways of creating
Well,
soundscapes and noises and stuff like that.
and that's what I was going to throw in there as well, because I have a friend who does EDM, and he has experimented in doing like some dark synth wave, and actual getting into like, you know like shoegaze and noise core type stuff as well. So when you're
Sure.
doing these songs, and obviously there's layers upon layers, and that's just within a normal session. But when you're adding in like atmospheric tones and drones and things like that, when do you finally, it's like, what's for this is kind of a two-parter. One, how many tracks have you actually added to one song that are just expanding? And when do you feel like that is okay, that's it, I think I've hit upon it? And I know
Usually,
everything's
yeah.
different, so as best as
Yeah.
you can.
Yeah, so first you just get an idea in your head of what are you trying to achieve. So what we did with this album, everything, we wanted to make everything sound as intentional as possible. This wasn't the case with the previous albums. It was more a raw expression. If I want to add five more layers of very heavily processed guitar leads or ambient parts, I would do that and I would just try to make it work like that. In the latest album, everything was really catered to the idea, like to serve the vision of the song, right? So
Sure.
every melody or every part of the soundscapes that we used, it served a certain purpose, and that purpose is not really rational, but rather just in terms of just like creating a story, you know. So every song follows a certain storyline, and it's very much in line with the lyrics. Like each part has its own like main character and what he does and the things that happen to him and the things he thinks about or talks to somebody. So we try to basically layer those things. We didn't like add too many things when the guitars and the drums and the bass are playing. We're using those like soundscapes more like in the in
Sure.
between those parts. So just to serve a story. So usually it's just I never know when to finish. So that's why we discuss it as a band, you know, like what sounds good, maybe that's too much, maybe we should rearrange the parts or maybe something. I mean, the error to signal ratio of this whole process is like, I don't know, like 99%. Like
Sure.
what you hear on the album is like 1% of the decisions that you
Right.
eventually make. Um, I've
You always have the one person in the band that's all right, leave that there. I like it. It's good. Don't touch it.
we're a little bit more extreme on that because we actually had another album that didn't see the light of the day because we scrapped it because we didn't think it was like good enough. We are sometimes that radical in terms of creativity. We had that
Wow.
album prepared like almost 4 years ago. It was supposed to be our third album that we should was supposed to deliver to Season of Mist. And me personally, and I think other guys would agree, just it didn't feel like it was good enough. So
Sure.
what we did is
It was a good enough album, just not good enough for the project. That if it were somebody else's album, that it would be cool, but because
it
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 was
would
yours,
yeah, it would have been okay, but I just didn't feel what I feel, for example, with this one or what I felt with the first or the second one. Something was just missing. I don't know, maybe just a weird time in our lives or something. So we just scrapped it and recycled some of the ideas, but
okay.
and they turned out to be a completely different thing, but they served a little bit of a starting point. So we didn't like start over from zero, so to speak. So it served a purpose, you know. So, well, we can consider it as a, demo in high production value demo, and just, we needed to take some time off, actually. That's why it sucked. We needed to take some time off to
That
reevaluate our relationship with music, what's important in music, and especially heavy music. I had a little bit of a problem a few years back with heavy music and how I feel about it and why am I still interested in it, why I want to play it. I was always interested in it, like going to shows, and
sure.
just keeping myself informed, like what's on the radar, like in terms of releases, new artists, all scene stuff, however you can call it. But what it means to me to play that kind of music, because I'm interested in so many kinds of music, I just have so many ideas about everything, and I just don't have that much time. So I figured, okay, so I'm gonna continue doing this thing, but what is it gonna be about? I'm not personally not that much into sludge metal anymore. I'm more into like maybe this more deathcore stuff right now that gives me something, like this energy that I used to feel in other types of like heavy music. Now okay, I'm inspired by this a little bit, but doing this only just is not enough for me. So I just figure out just to reevaluate and take everything that I liked doing, that I enjoy now, and also have a vision in terms of impact, which is very important to me in songwriting. The impact, not the riffs, not like the drums, but what it does to you, especially
Sure.
playing live.
Absolutely. A couple points there. You said that you all needed to and especially you needed to reevaluate your love of music and what playing music meant to you. That is extremely profound because I think a lot of people don't, especially in like epicenters of culture like New York, Los Angeles, London, all these big places. The capitalist structure of making music has become so much of the the content creation machine that you have got to constantly put out something, and you've got to treat it like it's your passion, but you're treating it like a 24/7 job when it's actually art, and you should be able to take time from it and allow yourself to be able to creatively refill,
Right.
for one. And for two, you'd said something about, for you personally, how you had, you were into a lot of different things, a lot of different musics, and you weren't feeling the same. And I think anybody who has their finger on the pulse of a lot of different scenes, and I feel this too because I had a black metal band on, earlier, in an interview today from Sweden. And so then it's like you start to get so many crossovered lines, so many blurred lines of stuff staying on the release schedules for these people, and it is exhausting, and it does create burnout super fast. So no, I totally understand exactly what you're saying when you had to just sit there and say, hey, I need to stop and focus on this. Because personally speaking, I used to be a tabletop gamer. I used to play D&D a lot. And like when I started playing music again a lot, I don't want to say full time, but like as full time as a hobbyist could be, that like I had to pick one or the other. And that's sometimes that's hard to do. And but here we are now, 20 something years later,
Right.
still doing this same thing.
Yeah, there's a certain heaviness about all these things that you have mentioned. At first, you mentioned about the whole content making machine. So I think that was one of the reasons why we scrapped, why the demo I mentioned before a few years back didn't work out, because it was partly built on the anxiety that we have to follow up the second album as fast as possible. So that was one of the reasons. Of course, we were able to take our time and then to to do the thing that we did with the whole rediscovery, and just because, well, our label did not push us or anything, and they're just
Sure.
completely okay with so far everything that we did and are planning to do. And so that was like, for me personally, it was a good thing, but I think that costed us a little bit of momentum that we have managed to build ourselves, like after the second album, because we released our first album in 2018. We did some this and that, and then the next one came out in 2021. So even though that was for me not that long ago, but it's actually like a very long time since the second album. Like
It, yeah.
2021, I mean, like kidding me. Like everybody's saying, thought many people that really enjoyed the first two albums, and they're, for example, not doing same things anymore by themselves. For example, I was reaching out to a few people that were really like enjoying our previous work and just doing reviews and stuff, like on all the good like websites that are pretty well known, and like they're not working or not interesting there, or the website is down already, and I couldn't find some
Yeah.
of the old reviews that were really had. I just wanted to share with other people what was like those really good ones, good feedback that we got in like 2018, that I realized that's almost 10 years ago. I just rather just let it go. And so yes, there was this certain anxiety, and also about the time thing you mentioned with like choosing things like between like this kind of like just between music and other things that you might be interested. I used to play drums like in another band, and I had also another projects in mind, and I had many offers to participate in other projects from other people in our small local scene and etc. And I had to turn everything down basically, even though I would be really interested. But that's not like I didn't have that much free time. It's just if you want to do like a good musical project, you have to focus on it like really, really not to fuck around with other stuff that's like a distraction. And I think this new album is a result of us really focusing on this thing. And right now, well, the album was already finished early last year. So, so for me personally, it's been a while already. It just came out, but for me, we are completely on fire in the studio with our, with the upcoming work. And we're really working hard on, well, just doing a continuation of what we already started, but we're already noticing even a bigger progress in that sense. And there was this certain temptation to, due to the nature of having a band and what it means in time, in terms of time consumption. And I'm also involved in other life stuff, and work and like other projects that I have huge interests in, and yeah, so there's, for example, now the album just came out, and we had this really cool album release show. We just, we did it locally. We're not planning a tour or anything, but I'm right now. I had like a vacation, and I came back recently, and like I have to pick this album thing up, just build more momentum, and just pump the machine that you said, and
Yeah,
I'm just
the content creation machine in today's
yeah,
world.
and I just want to create new music, and that's like the main thing I want to do, and just but we still have to, follow up on everything, and so like that. So there's this certain temptation just to get it out of you and leave it for a while, and that's like the worst thing that you can do these days. I'm not complaining. We actually enjoy, sharing our, our creativity, our thoughts, our, life, as a band and whatnot. It's like, sharing is caring, right? But sometimes it's just a little bit too much, and sometimes
For sure.
you really tend to overthink these things. Everything is like much more simple, but you're like, oh, I should do this, I should do that, like, and that derives you from, focusing on what matters the most is like the music and, music friendships, and the connections that you make by doing this, because that's what it's all about, like having those, you connect with other people through music, and I've only recently realized how much music as a whole thing impacted my life in terms of the people I know, people I talk to, and what things that I do with people. And most of my friends are from the music scene, so
Sure.
so I'm just trying to right now to maybe respect that a little bit more, and try not to like give away to the fatigue of all of that. And just because I tend to just shut myself away by doing other things,
I definitely get that. I do the same thing. I'm always looking to the next thing, looking to the next thing to put out. Like we were saying, feeding the machine, and then sometimes shutting yourself away and just putting nose to the grindstone, as they say, and working. And sometimes that's not the best thing to do mentally, but the reward kind of does feel like it is there. So I'm going to
Yes,
shift over, ask you some general questions about you as a person.
sure.
Uh, EPIGRAMA, the album we are talking about, links are listed below. You can get your copy of it there as well. So some general questions. What do you value most in a friendship?
Hmm, very difficult question, bro. What I value the most? Well, I think the obvious thing, which is being able to open yourself to other people without having the without being judged. I think that's an important thing for me. Um,
Yeah,
like genuine connections. You can always distinguish like the true friendship, and stuff like that. But I think that's the big one for me. Many years I would like put a mask on and just try everywhere to be, how they say, performative, in everything
very
that you
much.
do. And just, and I tend to be a more of an open book recently. So when people respond to that, I'm really appreciative.
For sure, for sure. I could definitely get behind that. Yeah, being true to each other and just being an honest person to one another. That I think is the best quality to have. Yeah, that's what
It
I would
used to
look. That's yeah,
it used to be very difficult for me in that sense. I don't know. Always projecting, always trying to prove yourself to something. I also found out some things, for example, well, things might not appear for what they really are in terms of like friendships and stuff, but that comes with experience, I think. And I really enjoy, like, for example, reconnecting with people that are now changed, and I have myself changed a lot, and we had our all these sideways going, sometimes meeting in the particular places in life, and then separating again, and then coming
yep,
back, and like can see that just feeling appreciated, just that, and you appreciate as well at the same time.
for sure, man. Recently had something like that happen myself. So, um, what would you do if you woke up tomorrow and your actual line of work that you do as your day job was no longer needed?
Um, uh, Actually, many things, many things. I've been involved in so much stuff throughout the years. I mean, I'm coming from a corporate background, and then I did the quitting your job kind of thing, starting my own photography business, and now I'm doing
Ah,
that for 8 years now. And I also have another side project with a friend that we're working on a lot, and which is like cannot say much yet because some of our friends might listen to and start guessing around. But yeah, we have this sort of yeah. So I don't know. Just I think I would do any of these things that I mentioned, but I'm a very, how to say, industrious kind of person. I believe at least a little bit lazy but industrious. So I would always think of how to get by. I just um, I have so many things that I want to do in life. I don't think it will be ever enough, but I would definitely would find a hustle for myself. That's
for
just
sure.
in my nature.
If you could drive any vehicle, what would it be?
I'm so shallow, man. I already drive my dream vehicle, which is Skoda Octavia Universal, like to fit in as much stuff as possible. So I'm a
Yeah.
very like in terms of like these life things, I don't try to burden myself with my dream car or anything. I already have a dream car. It's like completely perfect. It's 2014 Skoda, and I love it. And I would be even able to. I'm afraid to say anything else because she might hear it outside the window and might break down on me. Like,
Oh my gosh.
I
See,
don't
I'm the
want
same way with that,
I don't want to hurt her
I think that's
feelings.
being a musician. I think being a musician, you're used to having a vehicle that might not make it one day.
Well, it's in perfectly fine shape, but I'm afraid that it has feelings because what I think once I've talked some shit about it and it broke down on me like the next day some pipes like start leaking, and tomorrow I have a long work trip by
Oh yeah,
car, so
it'll be fine.
yeah.
It'll be totally fine. What is one thing that you keep telling yourself you'll do when you have the time?
Several things. So I have these musical projects in mind, many of them, and when I start doing any of them, they take so much time. I tend to like give them up a little bit because I always tend to prioritize things. So I have so many musical ideas, and just this band is not able to even touch like a small part of it. I mean, I'm always feeling hungry. I really hate that feeling because there's not enough time in life like at all just to try to, channel everything, every single idea that I have in mind. I also have ideas for movies. I have ideas for music videos. I have ideas just to, doing some artworks, and I have ideas for several different kind of business kind of ideas, and also very like, pragmatic ones. And I also want to, take care of myself more, do sports and stuff. Or for example, this one, I just go with the flow, but I really enjoy, doing sports and stuff, and travel more, just
Sure.
always hungry for something. That, of course, is what drives me as a person, I think. Being hungry all the time, but no, I'm not talking about food,
Yeah,
hungry
for
for
sure. Sure. Yeah.
hungry for enabling my passion for things. And I've hit a wall a while ago. Not a while, I'm sorry, recently. I hit a wall recently because of how many things I had, that I wanted to do, and I said it's gonna be okay, I'm gonna do them. I have enough time. I can work until 4 a.m., if I need to, if I don't meet like deadlines or something. And I sometimes do that, and that, takes a toll.
It
And
does.
it's not I grind a lot like in life in general, but you need to prioritize somehow because those like nice things that you really want to do, they don't get done. But uh, yeah, so many things. I don't know
Hell
if
yeah.
I
And honestly, I kind of have to come up with another question because you kind of answered my next question in that as well was if you could give yourself when you were 13 some advice, what would you do? And you were just like, you're always going to grind, you just better make better decisions and
I have one for myself.
yeah. What do
Yeah,
you
yeah,
so yeah, if you could give yourself advice when you were 13, what would it be?
yeah. Try to be more consistent with
Mm,
things. For example, I was when I was a teenager, I was really into drawing stuff, artworks, logos, you know, logos for bands, and stuff, things like that. And I had a problem. I couldn't finish it. If I don't finish it on the same day, like this art piece, I would never finish it, like ever. I would,
mm,
I would rather rush it the same day and have a mid result rather than just have it pile up. And that's because I'm so inconsistent in not in the way I'm doing things, but the way I feel about doing things. And that's a really big problem for me until now, because if I don't feel like it, things like stop, and I need something to really motivate me. And I think that's because of my impulsive nature. For example, today, if I get an idea for a song, I most likely will just go to the studio and record it, because I'm gonna either lose it, or I'm gonna be like not in a mood the next day, or not gonna be able to feel it the next day. So there's
sure.
lots of starting something and not finishing it up. That's why it's so difficult for me to like to work on the album, because it has to be consistent, it has to be coherent, and then it has to have all the elements, and then eventually it has to go out. And consistency is key. And for example, when I said that we had to take some time to reevaluate those things, I think it's not a good thing that it took like 4 years to do that. And that's mainly because of these reasons, like this not being able to focus in a productive way. That's annoying. So I would say just try to be as consistent as possible and don't wait for anyone's like approval or signs of approval for you to like start anything, because that's the story of like my creative life. So many things starting and then just, not being finished.
For sure. Absolutely. No, I totally get that. And yeah, consistency is key. And I feel a lot of the same of that, that a lot of that same grind where it's like if I didn't get it done in like that day, I used to put models together and I was
Right.
the same way, and it's like, hey, it's done. Yeah, it took 6 hours when it should have taken 16 or something,
Right.
and you end up wasting the money involved in everything. So,
Yeah,
but I have one
exactly.
more. But I have one more question. As always, links they're listed below. So please give likes, shares, follows. Go do all the things, all the stuff. Go pick up albums. Go see shows when you can. Go support in any and every way you can, because that is how things work. That's how just listening to the music, showing your support, giving a share, even if that's all you can do that, because as we said earlier, it's like, hey, sometimes that's all we have is the music.
Well, it really keeps me going. Definitely.
Yeah, and likewise, as do I. So any shout outs or anything else you'd like to promote before we go today?
Uh, well, I would just like to, I always say a similar thing, and when I'm just speaking with people like every day, like in shows and stuff, we really appreciate feedback on our music. Um, uh, People used to share way more about their opinions on stuff. I come from the generation of internet forums, and
Mm-hmm.
I've been engaging in so many discussions, and to me it was so really exciting thing. It was one of the most exciting things for me actually to start involving myself in the scene and playing music, is to get feedback. I've actually started playing in bands. We didn't like release them like officially, like we used to just upload and send it like to a forum, and hey guys, what do you think about this new shit I did, and they
Oh
just
yeah.
and they say that it sucks, it's terrible, and you're like, oh, you fuckers, I'm gonna prove you wrong. And then you do a next one and they say, okay, you're getting better, but it still sucks. And you just argue and stuff. And like, I really love that kind of thing. And and right now usually there's not much feedback going on except for the review stuff. And reviews, some of them are like really good. You can really say that people have listened to the music, and that the person who wrote the piece was actually really invested, and that to me is like the biggest compliment, and I thank every one of them for spending time. But some of the reviews are 100% chat GPT generated, like whatever. Just
Yes.
you can write the same thing about any of the album you listen to. This song is so crushing, and this one, it just sounds like a wall of sound. It's not just a wall of sound, it's the whole sonic hurricane, so like stupid shit like that. And so I'm really like interested in just genuine feedback, and I really appreciate and thank a lot of our uh, people that we know, and our audience who just spend some time sending us DMs like about how they feel about the music. That's really good, and we are also using it as feedback for our future creative endeavors. Because uh, in the longer you work on an album, you tend to lose perspective, and something that you really like, you start hating it, and then the person says like my favorite part was from this and this song, and you're like, okay, so maybe I did a good job, and just I'm gonna maybe do something similar in the future, because there's at least one person that likes it and enjoys it. That's for me like, okay, I did my job. That's good. So if you could just send us as much feedback as possible, or just any of the thoughts, I would be really appreciating that.
Hell yeah, definitely. And yeah, I did too. I came from the days of forums on the internet and uploading MP3s back in the day. And before I remember doing the first round of ever burning CDs at home.
Right.
And that was insane. And, just coming from that era. But my final question of the day is uh, how do we ever know, or is there ever a possibility of us ever knowing if there is an afterlife?
I think there is at some form. I'm not a really like religious person like at all, and I'm not into like esoterics and all the. I'm just in terms of those things. I consider myself a very dull kind of person. I'm like, but I'm not like an atheist, not even agnostic. I just don't care about any of that stuff. So, but I have some feelings about it, and I don't know. I used to be like very more aggressive towards this kind of talks, and but the more loss you experience in life, and on those experiences to me were definitely profound. Losing family members and stuff, losing
Mm-hmm.
friends, and that it doesn't make you religious, but it just makes you thinking about all that kind of stuff, and what it all means, and uh
Yeah.
and so it's just afterlife, like I rarely think about that, of course, but maybe at some form it might exist, but I don't really know, man.
Yeah, for sure. And that is the hard one, is like, because no one really will ever know. And it's like, if you think about the people that could have been and the people that are,
Hmm.
and how, and then just like, I watched an interview recently with Neil deGrasse Tyson, and he had said something similar about that. And it's like, he about not fearing death and things because he had the pleasure of having life, and it's a
Yeah.
privilege because, of you, if you think about the people that, were never like out of the billions of cells and that our existence popped up. And that's so interesting. So,
Yeah, I
but
mean,
this,
just one thing to add,
yeah,
for example, when the person is gone, and he lives in your memories and heart and feelings, that's also like the form of an afterlife, right? Just that person, that's the only place that that person exists, and like the people that knew him and remember him, and that really just, for example, when I think about my grandparents and stuff, it's like I'm gonna be like the last generation is gonna like to remember them as people, like at all. Even like
hmm,
we have pictures of them, but there's not gonna be like many people at all. Like for example, I
sure,
don't have I don't have children, so they didn't knew their grandparents. But so it's like the finite nature, and it's like everything is gonna be like so final. So I'm not very. Um, yeah, it's just not being afraid of dying. That's all another thing. But just let them live while you are still alive. And just remembering them is like is
that's a
important.
good one. That's a good way to leave it. Let them live while you're still alive. There you
Yeah,
go.
yeah.
Boom. On our way out today, what are we going to play from the band?
I would say just play a title song called EPIGRAMA. It's the first one. It's like it sounds like a statement.
Boom. You heard him. Everybody, epic metal every day. Thank you.
Thank you, bro.
Hey metalheads, you like tattoos? Of course you do. If you're in the Louisville, Kentucky area, come on over the bridge to Clarksville, Indiana, and get you some ink done at Ageless Art. If ink isn't your thing, they have a piercing studio as well. Visit agelessartclarksville.com to see some frequently asked questions, meet the staff. The shop is open Monday through Thursday, 12 to 8 p.m., Saturdays, 12 to 10 p.m., and Sundays, 12 to 6 p.m., all appointment-only spots. You can set up your appointments by phone at 812-283-1793 or email agelessarttattooandpiercing@gmail.com and someone will get you set up for your first or your next tattoo or piercing.
Hey metalheads, after going to a rager, what's your ultimate go-to? Mine is totally pizza. So when Overload is playing or I'm promoting the Metal Forge live showcases or the big goddamn metal show, I go to Pizza Donisi. Pizza Donisi is gourmet artisan pizza from right here in Louisville, Kentucky. It features things like the pizza of the month, the sandwiches, and also vegetarian and vegan options, which is so totally fucking cool for all of it's awesome pizza. You definitely want to go. Hey, and also from time to time they do cannolis. Oh, so fucking good. You know what they said, man? Leave the gun, take the cannoli. Yeah, just like that in Godfather. They're located right next to the Mag Bar at 1396 South 2nd Street. So either stop in or call in at 502-213-0488. They're open till midnight. The witching hour.
Heineken, fuck that shit. Pabst Blue Ribbon.
Alright, metalheads, time to listen. That's right. Definite Metal Stomp, Awesome Brews, Pizza Next Door, check. Metal shows, double check. That's right, Mag Bar at 1398 South 2nd Street in Louisville, Kentucky. Friends of the Metal Forge for years. Get in there, get some drinks, get some pizza, see some bands, metal every day.
In 2017, one man's vision and passion for all things metal started out as a record store in his house. Years later, the fight against a mainstream empire continues as Shade Beast. An independent metal collective and online store based in Athens, Georgia, is the world's premier heavy metal brand for music heads that value authenticity over the mainstream acceptance. Featuring original t-shirts from some of the best underground artists, as well as stickers, posters from the Shade Beast Presents concert series. Unique, one-of-a-kind collectibles and small curated selection of vinyl and cassettes from the masters old and new. Visit shadebeast.com and enter promo code SithLord for free domestic shipping on your first order, whether you're a new customer or returning. And be sure to join the Shade Beast social groups on Facebook and the interwebs to keep up with the new release announcements and talk all things metal and Star Wars. You'll never find a more wretched hive of scum and filth.
Welcome to the night. You think you know Night Demon? Then the Night Demon Heavy Metal Podcast is for you. Step into the darkness as we peel back the curtain to give you an unprecedented, all-access look into the mind and the heart of the demon. We're talking band history, song analysis, studio anecdotes, stories from the road. It's everything a diehard Night Demon fan could want and more. This is the only place to learn the inside scoop, the deep dive trivia, the untold tales from the band members themselves and those closest to the Night Demon story. Need more? The Sacred Night Demon Crypt will be pried open to reveal demo recordings that have never before seen the light of day, all with in-depth commentary by the band and the people who were there for the writing and recording process. This is a gold mine, a treasure trove of all things Night Demon. Head over to nightdemon.net or wherever you listen to podcasts.
What's up, Metal Forge fans? This is Alan Bishop, the alchemist of Indiana's Black Forest and head distiller at Spirits of French Lick. Do you find yourself drawn to the unexplained, fascinated by the Fortean, or enchanted by the paranormal? If the things that go bump in the night resonate in your mind, then tune into my brand new podcast, If You Have Ghosts, You Have Everything. Featuring first-hand accounts, collected stories, interviews, history, and speculation related to all things not of this world. Available now on Anchor, Spotify, Google, Amazon, and more. Sit back, relax, and remember, if you have ghosts, you have everything.
Hey, let me tell you guys about Mercenary Press. They're an independent London label and distributor of all things metal. Mercenary Press delivers the goods from their own independent zine. Trust me, you're going to want to get in on that. To distributing various bands from all over the world, including Cramp from Spain and Sadistic Force from Texas. Visit mercenarypress.bigcartel.com to find out what all they have in stock and what you can order. And for Metal Forge listeners, enter code METALFORGE10 to receive a discount on your total purchase at mercenarypress.bigcartel.com. Check it out now.
In a broken wasteland, I come to my fire and place your blood and steel upon my pyre. Metal Forge, this is the Metal Forge, this is the Metal Forge.